I'm gonna call the meeting to order at 6:01. Are you ready?
Go, no.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oops.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from June 28th, 2016.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from June 28th, 2016, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Additions and deletions, we need to add some things. We need to add, under new business, we need to add a tax rate discussion. Under new business, we need to add a town report committee. I think that's all the additions. And we can drop the executive session under highway.
We can?
We can, there's no, Kurt's not going to be there, we'll take executive session at the end. Instead of breaking in the
Okay,
middle.
oh, okay.
All right?
Mhm.
Anything
But we
else?
will go in executive for personnel matters, right?
Well,
To
for,
discuss
yes,
at the end?
at the end, instead of in the middle.
Yeah, there will be an executive session.
Okay.
Is there anything else that needs to come on or off?
Nah, it'll get picked up in, I don't have anything
All right. Then we'll move on to the paving bids. All right.
else. I don't know if maybe I guess I only made one, or I got a couple, but anyway, yeah, you've got the paving bids. 3 paving bids were received, that was the RFP.
Okay, the first one is from Basin. Must be, I'll catch the letter itself, what I always do. All right. That's the insurance. There it is. The quote is for $66.42 per ton.
66.42 ton.
Not included, I just want to look at the RFP.
Permit shoulder gravel sweeping, milling of the existing pavement.
Is it broken down by project? Because there are one.
Yes,
two,
it
Yes,
is.
it is.
Up at the
Yeah.
top,
Yeah,
there's
by
estimates.
tonnage too.
By
so.
tonnage. So, for example, Grafton Road is listed at 570 ton,
Okay, Grafton 570,
East Hill at 480,
480, yep.
and Depot at 150.
Okay. Thank you.
Where's Grafton Road?
570,
Looking at it upside down, I can't read.
570, 480, 150. Grafton East Hill Depot. Ah, 37, 859.
Having all of you doing the math at the same time.
Pretty well. Hopefully it all comes out the same, right?
Oh, so far you're on the same page.
0.
So the total on that,
Is
Seven.
79,704. Even.
okay. We're all on the same page, we all got the same number. Alright? The next one would be Lane, as soon as I can figure out which end to open.
But the projects are separable,
Yes, they are.
so.
Did we have a problem last year with private shootings?
That wasn't who we used last year.
Can I see the
I
bid,
mean,
please?
in the projects.
I don't remember what.
Can I see the bid, please?
Okay, Lane is unit price of $65.60 a ton. Quantity 1,240 estimated tons for an amount of $81,344.
3, 4.
81 what?
81,344.
And what was the total tonnage?
Total tonnage, I lost it, 1240.
1240, okay.
I need paper clips to keep all these together.
1,200. That's 40 tons more than base. So even though the price per ton is less, it's 40 tons more. So I get more tar for the buck. No. You gotta compare apples and apples.
Apples and apples, that's right. And it, again, that's the total for the projects. I'm not sure it's broken, whether it's broken down or not.
They could probably use Basin's numbers and very close to.
Very close. Right.
Yeah, you were within 40 tons, one there, 30,
Yeah.
35.
Well,
That's who you use, you know?
We can maybe get a couple driveways done.
Oh, I see, we're gonna do some drivers, they cut, let's keep them together.
I mean, there is that left hook at the bottom of Depot Road.
No.
You have to tell him he's not a good boy. All right, so we're ready for the next one? Next one would be Springfield. I know that time I got the paper. Feel it.
Unfortunately, Kirk is not here tonight, so I don't know if that's nice we discuss with him or not. But anyway, we'll get the numbers out anyway.
Okay, the price per ton is $60.48.
6048,
Yes.
okay?
Approximately 1145 tons of asphalt.
4 or 5 tons, okay, it's 45 less, 55 less.
Work not to exceed appropriated money of 80,000.
They don't give you a price per ton or nothing. Yeah,
Well, I give a
6 to
price per
48.
ton.
Right.
60 tons.
And then let's see what's here. It's,
Well, if you do 1,145 tons, that's $60.48 a ton, you only come up with 68,700. That's way below, not to exceed 80. But they had a,
well, but it just, the work to be performed on Grafton Road, East Hill and Depot, total project to require that tonnage. If we use 1-inch overlay only on Depot Road, if there are funds left, I recommend a heavier shim on East Hill, if not to exceed. Okay? After a debacle last year. That one, keep them together here.
I wish Kurt were here so we could discuss that a little bit because the Springfield one is so different. Not necessarily so different tonnage though, where you're talking about, what, 100 tons different?
well, 1,240 less 1,145 from high to low, you're
Yeah.
95 tons different.
Yeah, that's what I said
On
about
the
100
straight,
about
on the
100
straight, on the
tons.
straight quote. I mean, not counting price. I would think you'd want to discuss it with Kurt.
I do want to discuss it.
At least do.
What do you think about it?
So,
Yes, I think we need to have Kurt here and kind of, we need a minute to at least decipher, because none of the 3 bids are, it's, I don't know,
Well, the first 2 are pretty comparable, but
no, but I meant the description of what the work is.
Well, that was in an
Recent
RFP.
basin bid.
The basin
I'm
bid?
not talking about that, I'm talking about what they described.
That they'll do, right? It's not necessarily in the
They're
RFP.
not all, they're not the same, is what I'm saying. And there's 100 tons, 95 tons difference.
So what's your pleasure?
Is that somewhere near common to have 100-ton different? Maybe
I know.
you can help us just understand it a little bit.
So
Well,
what I
since you were
use,
the- you were the-
we use a factor to figure the tonnage. What we'll do is take width times length, divide that by 9 and give you square yards.
Yeah.
Then I use a factor of 0.058 tons per inch per square yard. So for each square yard, you got 0.508 tons times the number of square yards, and then times the depth, the number of inches. I know Springfield Paving uses 0.0565, so he tends to run a little bit shorter. What I like to do is overestimate slightly, so
Yeah.
there's less surprises.
No, I appreciate that. I was just, so I could help.
And I know Basin will use 0.057. I use 0.058, Springfield uses 0.0565. So that, proportionally, that's about right,
Okay.
based on that. So, but I would think you'd go with the per ton price, because it's gonna end up being the same quantity, as long as the yield and the depth runs
The same.
I
correct.
appreciate that, thank you.
Sure.
But even when we've done that, and even everybody that's worked, and Basin's paved, you guys have paved, Springfield's paved for us a couple of times, a lot of times because they've come in with a low bid. We've never paved without surprises. And that's what this board is trying to eliminate here is things that pop up, a week into the work. So
Well, $5 a ton is gonna go a long ways, it's about $6,000.
Yeah.
So,
I would make a motion that we suspend awarding the bid until such time we have an opportunity to discuss these bids with our highway foreman. I don't know if we wanna put a date on it, cause I don't know if we
Well,
wanna wait
maybe-
till the next meeting, then you're cutting time short
you know
to.
what we
I mean,
do?
I can call him and see if he can come in. I mean, if you guys are gonna be around here later on, he may be able, I don't know. This is important. Because people do need to schedule. Your next meeting isn't until the
That's right.
26th, and you may be short a quorum on the 26th, so.
Well, that's
We
right.
may be able to give him a ring at the house and then come up here later on at 7 or 8 o'clock or something. But,
So would it be all right if we notified you
Yeah.
possibly in the morning, if we could
Yeah.
get a hold of Kurt?
Yes.
And let you know what happens after we get a chance to talk to him?
Sure enough.
So the motion on the table is
just to
to,
postpone until you
to
can talk to the
postpone it,
foreman.
till we have a chance to talk to the highway foreman. Is there a second for that?
There was Rob
Okay,
seconded.
okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, abstentions? Then we will let you know as soon as we talk to him. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in, I appreciate it.
Make sure I got that. No, yes, that is, that's Springfield, that's Basin. Okay.
Yeah, I think you need to be able to make sure you're comparing apples to apples here and get an advisor.
Yeah, well, I think we need the highway foreman here anyhow, and making,
That is all.
cause I just, and we might make note of it, but I have a question. Didn't last year we run into problems with who's supposed to be flagging these things? And if we're gonna hire a hunter, is that part of the,
I think that was part of the discussion.
in the bid.
I would worry.
well, that's what I was looking
Not
at.
quite as much about, my concern doesn't lie so much as in the flaggers. Mine lies in making sure that people's driveway entrances are done properly. I mean, you could lose quite a few yards by just skimming out and not doing a proper apron onto people's driveways, which last year we ran into that and they had to go back and fill in a whole bunch of them.
And the flagging was an issue, I mean, it was a lot of
Well,
money.
no, but I mean, there's.
We didn't, but the flagging should be included
Right.
in that price. I know it's not in the RFP, I didn't put it in there.
That's-
The apron,
so-
the aprons were, this is why Kurt supervises these jobs, is to make sure the aprons are correct. And that they missed a couple last year for some reason.
Missed a
But
couple,
they'll-
they missed half the road.
Okay, they missed half the road, he didn't catch it or something, he didn't want to watch them. But they'll provide their own flaggers.
It seemed like last year, because Kurt was there every day, all day, and then we still didn't have it right.
Well, we didn't have the
Well,
footage
part of
right,
it-
we didn't have the aprons right, we didn't have the flagging right,
have
we
the
didn't have the
measurement
money right, we didn't have, nothing was
We
right.
didn't have the measurement right by a huge percentage, which is really what caught us last year. This year, they did measure their own. The
Yeah,
town put paint on the road start and stop, and got out with their wheels and measured it, so that's.
Well, I think those
Why
are
the
things we have to
consistency?
discuss with.
I do, this is the biggest thing you're gonna spend money on for the highway this year. I think that in the foreman knew these were coming in tonight, so. You knew they were gonna be open at
Call them
6.
up, bring them up on the phone, smoke signals, give them something.
So,
Let's get through the warrants and, or something, well, I don't know, I'll do what you want me to do.
well, I was gonna say, do you wanna talk to him now? Do you wanna,
Put him on speakerphone?
what do you wanna, where in the agenda
No,
do you want to
I
talk
think
to
he
him?
needs to be here, speakerphone doesn't do it.
Oh, no, but I meant,
Okay, so then let's just move on to the agenda. Do we want Craig to call him and see if he can come in at, what,
Whatever.
7:30,
See
8?
see if there's a time that he can come in this evening.
Within reason, because I'm not gonna sit here all night waiting for him to come in either.
I don't suspect he's home next
Please.
phone.
Please give
What's
her a
from
ring.
his home phone? You know his phone number?
9764.
You should call him, 9764.
This is a point of reference. This is the second meeting in a row that's happened. Can we make sure that we don't give out phone numbers on camera? Just be kind of conscious of it. Because suddenly it's just public information. All right, moving on. Okay, we can't do, how do you want to do with the highway? Do we want to postpone and have that discussion if Clerk can come in?
I would think so, if he can come in. Even when we get down to the warrants, there's some questions I've got about some of the highway warrants and things that Kurt's gonna have to answer. I mean, I don't know what the rest of us feel like with this highway issues here that really need to be,
There's no answer.
Yeah.
We can page him.
that need to be discussed, that's
He
what.
paid good, didn't he?
Hmm?
You lost his paid good.
That's right, boss. Can't pay him either. I can drive down
Well,
Well, I don't think we ought to have to go looking them up either, but, so I don't know, I mean,
so what would you like to do as
there.
far as the agenda goes?
I'll keep trying.
With,
But if
with-
he's working on a vehicle, he's working.
particularly with the highway. I mean, we have issues to discuss. Do we want to go ahead and discuss them? Do we want to just wait? What's the,
let's wait and bring it back
All
up as we get down through, because there are some issues under the warrants too that I'll discuss and see if we wanna discuss with him.
all right, then law enforcement, there's been no communication that I'm aware, although I did get a verbal complaint from a resident on Route 35 asking if there could be some extra patrol time done between the hospital and the town garage. And we contacted our new representative, and he in fact said he would take care of making sure that extra patrol was out there. So I don't know if anybody's seen a state policeman out there, but
I have.
They've been
figures-
around, they've been around.
yeah, they have been around. The town clerk, you all should have had over-the-counter monies, or a listing of the over-the-counter money. And then the treasurer.
Well, we have $749,170.28.
749, 170.28.
So, of that,
Yep, you got a calculator?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
How much of that is in reserves, Joe?
In your packets. Joe doesn't have that yet.
He doesn't have that information?
No.
He doesn't?
No,
That's
that's
the changing
new.
as of today.
Finally revised today, finally morphed into whatever it's been morphed into. That's in your packages, in the folders that I gave you under the taxes. You don't have to, I'll give you a copy of it, I got one.
Yeah.
And it, I believe. I'm sure I got the right one, I'm pretty sure I do. What do you got on your page, Kathy, 115 and 319?
I'm not even looking for it.
Okay, that's fine, I'm giving Joe that one. So,
So, Let me see if this is right, and I guess I might have to wait for Craig, I don't know.
I'm just, that could be somebody calling on the phone.
As,
This one is in the bank and money market accounts. This one is in the general fund. So that number you just gave us, less that, is what is basically available.
So really what's available comes up because of the 749,170, 115,45 is in reserve. And the bank account is 319,799. So it leaves really a balance of expendables of 204,000.
No.
Yeah.
Of what Joe reported in the general fund, of the 749, of that 749, 115 of it is in reserve. Just, it's in the general fund. It's just in it. You can spend the money, it's just you're gonna owe it back to yourself because it's been targeted for a purpose, that's not that
All
hard.
right.
The other money that's so-called total bank account money, 319, that's off in a different bank, it's in a CD.
that's your number.
It's off in a CD, it's Park Nelson, Joe can tell you where it is. Finance Officer Clerk. Hey, how you doing? You heard the phone ring. They just opened bids from 3 contractors. We received them all by 4 o'clock today, and they'd like to discuss them with you. Is there any way you can make it up here this evening? Before sundown? Okay, I'll let them know that you'll be in. Can you make it before 7:30? Okay, we'll see you shortly. Bye-bye. He's gotta do the Gojo thing, and he'll be up.
All right. So did you have any additional questions on that, Ted? Nope. All right, then the other issue that we have is at the end of the year, there's money owed to the town general fund from both the library and from the cemetery commission. We don't happen to have the final numbers yet, for some reason, on the cemetery commission, but we do have final numbers for the library. I have a warrant for the board to approve that directs the treasurer to deposit $1,475.29 into the town general fund from the library money market account for FY 15-16 payments or reimbursements to the town council.
So is that on the warrants or is that?
It's not, it is.
It's a separate warrant, it's
It's a
instruction.
paperwork instruction. I've been
Okay.
typing these up for a couple of years so that there's a paper trail when you instruct the treasurer, because he can't do it by himself.
I know.
When you instruct the treasurer to move money from one account to another. This is money that was given to the library in excess of what, money that was given to money to fund the operations of the library, which is basically surplus that they didn't spend,
Right.
that the taxpayers should get back at the end of the year. This is excess money. Therefore, it's what the library basically owes back to the town, and out of their budget for last year.
So I'll entertain a motion to instruct the treasurer to move $1,475.29 from the library to the town general fund.
So have that number again, 1,475.29.
75.29.
And Kyle, you moved it? Seconded around.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So,
It just makes it official, it gives the trustees over there a piece of paper to look at, gives Joe some account numbers to play with.
man, what, 6 weeks?
What's he go have, some with Karen?
All right, anything else from the treasurer, for the treasurer? All right, then moving on. Before we start on the warrants, I have something's been brought to my attention, I just would like to discuss with the board. And that's actually Craig's. And that is the fact that we're having difficulty meeting our credit card payment deadlines. And we're incurring late fees and finance charges. Now, the assistant treasurer has offered to ACH, those payments directly to the different entities, Staples and I believe the credit card that the town uses, Kurt uses, Craig uses, and Anita uses for purchases. I need to know how you feel about having direct payments that go around the board. In other words, having these payments made prior to seeing the documentation on what it's for, et cetera.
It's different than what we do now with the warrants.
It'd be good if we had a RFP that worked good, and then we would feel pretty confident about what we're paying for a credit
I
card.
will state for the record that this board passed a number of years ago, but this board passed, and there is a policy that when a credit card bill comes in, when it arrives in the mail, it can be paid by the bookkeeper that day. Write a check, print it, put it on a warrant as having been paid, but don't incur the risk of letting it go for another 5 days or 10 days and becoming a late $29 late charge, and they're getting harder and harder to take off. So, but we've done that 3 times now on Kurt's card, incurred late fees and whatnot because it hasn't been processed in a timely fashion. Apparently something happened with Staples, I'm not sure what. But Anita looked at making automatic withdrawals from our bank account directly to Staples' bank account on a closed loop electronic basis.
So I need to know the board's feeling on that, whether you want to start paying the bills by ACH.
I'm okay with it as long as the statements are being, and a receipt of that, so we can put on the warrant.
The only thing I see as an issue is it gets difficult then to backtrack through some of the problems that we've had, like the confusion on the credit card and the credits for the highway department versus the fire department, and how twisted that became. If you were doing it in ACH, you wouldn't actually have that paper in front of you to look at.
Well, you also don't have a paper check. You also, I mean, it does show up in your bank account as a withdrawal, but you don't have any account breakdowns on it. And it bypasses the NIMRIC system of accounting. It is highly efficient. It's innocent enough, but it sets a precedent. And once you go down that road, I mean, we now get 3 bills electronically, and they're nothing but you got to check email every day, or you may not pay Aflac. I mean, it sneaks in with 100 other emails. You dump 90 of them, but if you miss 3 or 4 days in a row and you get a holiday, you still get 300 or 400 emails to go on. It's not that many, but you know what I mean. There's a stack of them, and Aflac is in the middle. And if you miss that invoice, you're out a month.
Or Sovereign Solar,
Or Sovereign Solar, or Delta Dental, or there's another couple of them that do come in that way. Most of the bank statements or most of the credit cards, they arrive by paper. You may have a receipt for what got bought on the road somewhere, or you may not have that receipt. But the actual statement, this is due on the 29th, comes in a paper form, and it just needs to be processed in a timely fashion. The problem is there may not be somebody back here for 5 out of 6 days between the two.
I don't know, my credit card statements come 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance. It seems like we have meetings in it often enough to be able to review them.
Well, you do, but we got caught in the situation a couple of years back, and the board, I think, wisely said, look, it's a credit card, go ahead and pay it, we'll straighten it out afterwards, but as long as you get the warrant to sign off on, it can, and there are a couple of them in there already. Not credit cards, but a couple of bills that have been paid. You will see, this has been paid, there's a check number, such and such a date. It makes it hard for you to refuse it at the table, it's been paid in advance. But nonetheless, you're seeing the copy, you've got the paperwork that goes with it, and presumably the bookkeeper can justify having written the check, the treasurer has signed it, it's gone in the mail to meet a certain deadline. If it goes ACH, you're not gonna know about it until the bank statement comes in at the end of the month. I mean, if somebody wants to obfuscate or keep things off record, it's a very easy thing to do. But it's shifting responsibility from this office to the front office for some proportion of the spending. And it could get heavy, but I mean, it could be all the credit cards, which should be fine. But it's a significant, I mean, it's up to the board how it wants to split doing this. Anyway, it has come up.
Anybody?
That's a matter of,
You want to think about it, chew on it?
talk about it in executive.
No, we talked about it.
Okay.
I like, I'm old fashioned, I like to see it before I pay it. That's where I stand, and anybody else can speak.
I like Kit's idea. I like to look at it,
You
mull it
know,
over,
I
kick
can't
it
imagine, we
around
meet
the floor a little bit.
usually every 2 weeks.
Basically, the way credit cards are coming these days, by the time they close the account, they get them processed and in the mail and to you, you usually have about 9 to 10 days to pay them.
But it has to go out west.
Mine,
Well, that's the way the majority of them are. They're required by law now to give you.
Well, they
20 days.
say you have 24 days in the cycle or something, but they
But
mail
it's
it
from
out
the
on-
date of closing, not
Right.
from the date of.
Right, they close on the 3rd, they don't mail it until the 4th or the 5th, there's a
Longer than
weekend
that.
involved, you get it on the 8th or the 9th, it's due on the 22nd. The board does or doesn't meet, you know, and maybe somebody isn't in the office or just sends up in a problem. In any case, it can be handled in this office. Of late, it hasn't, and it's been an issue in-house. And we've tried to walk most of those back, because a simple phone, but it's more than a simple phone call, it takes 15, 20 minutes with somebody from India to get the card fees backed off. That having been said, there is an alternative Anita proposed, and that is to do them electronically right out of the bank account and just take whatever the balance is, get it paid. So,
So I hear, you want paper, you didn't say anything.
he's on here under duress.
Doesn't look like he slept either.
I don't particularly care. Paper's fine.
So do we want to ask that the statements still be sent and that they go through the process, but that the bookkeeper, as soon as those statements are received, does issue a check?
I think that's reasonable. It's no different than the warrants. They're already getting paid ahead of time.
that I
At least you have
I
to
got, at
statement to
least
see
I've
what
got
the money
something
was.
that when that
spent
warrant's
on.
in front of me,
Yeah.
I can look and see who charged what, where, why.
Well, and I think you'll still be able to, even with the ACH matter, it's just it may go out 30 days before you actually get the paperwork to cycle.
But
It
even if-
adds an extra,
Even if we had a couple days, I mean, like you're saying, if we can't meet in our 2 week time frame, at least we got a week to mull it over a little bit and, you know, see if the red flags fly up and
well,
we're
potentially,
getting
again,
fraudulent charges or whatever's going on.
you're looking at a lot of payments after the fact, all the payrolls after the fact. You don't even look at that until it's already a done deal. But nonetheless, it's still here. It's still the responsibility of the finance office to write the checks and physically have a treasurer or assistant treasurer sign the checks. There are many eyes on it before
It leaves.
it leaves the house, and somebody's looking at the actual address. It isn't just happening electronically with the push of a button. But
So anyway, it sounds like it's pretty well settled. We want to stick with the original policy that was put in place by a board however long ago, that they be paid upon receipt by the treasurer's office or the bookkeeping office,
That would
whoever's
seem to
handling
me like
finances.
it would be a late payment if it's paid on receipt,
Why would it be a late
you
payment?
know? Why would it be a late payment? There's time enough there to do it the way we're doing it.
I agree.
So you're saying not to pay it immediately, to wait until after the board's approved? Actually seen them before we
No,
pay?
I don't mind, what I want is a piece of paper to see what we've
Right,
paid.
okay.
That's what I want.
So the original dictate of the board from whenever, that they be paid within the window.
Well, again, it's come down to being a finance office problem, of conscientiously making sure the stuff gets out on time, in a timely fashion. And if that gets corrected, then this is no longer an issue.
Okay, so rather than moving on to the warrants now, let's
Back to
backtrack the highway, so follow the agenda as it bounces. I don't even really know where we want to begin. Do we want to
We
begin by
want to
reading?
begin with the paving.
All right. Oh, my arms are just not long enough. You have all your computations done? Somebody?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
In fact-
so they're actually gonna be backwards because they're on
you
the
want-
table backwards.
Oh, no matter.
Who are you starting
Three
with?
bids we'll see, they're all a little different.
Okay, so the first one, this is the one that's causing us the most confusion, is from Springfield. It is for, I lost it, $60.48 per ton. It's
1,145
45
tons.
tons estimated.
1145?
Yeah, which comes up to $68,700. They didn't break it down by project, but it's well under the,
68.
with a do not exceed 80 grand, tagged onto the,
They told them all.
yeah.
So the only thing they go on to say is that if the funds are left, they recommend heavier shim on East Hill.
Correct.
Okay, so work not to exceed 80. So that was Springfield. Then we have Basin, and they broke it out by project.
Okay.
Okay, their price per ton is $66.42.
The total for the projects is 79,704 if you add up all three. So they're just under 80.
Okay,
And the breakdown was Grafton, 570 tons. East Hill, 480. Depot, 150.
total tonnage. All right. And then the last one is Lane. And that was quantity, 1,240 ton,
140.
at a price of $65.60, for a total amount of $81,344. So ask your questions, he now has the information.
So I'm looking at what ended up happening was that the Basin came in at 79, Lane came in at 81, and Springfield came in at 68. And that was a pretty big difference, although Springfield agreed to
Now,
add another 12 to it.
part of our concern, at least mine, I guess, I don't speak for me, but was last year we had quite a lot of problems in Springfield and the driveways and how they were doing driveways, right, Rob?
Well, I mean, do you remember last year we had a problem where you had to go back and put quite a bit of where the rise going out of the driveway onto the road was such a steep, you know, incline that people with like a normal vehicle, they couldn't get out of their yard. And it wasn't just one, it wasn't two, but there was a lot of them. Plus there was a lot of, like, the finished coat was shaky. I mean, it wasn't like a nice.
Well, the only place I know the finish coat was bad
Well, hey,
was on
I was trying to say that a lot of it, there were spots that weren't really smooth. There was kind of patchy and it wasn't.
You know what happens, it gets cold.
Well, I don't care if it's cold or if it's hot. What my point is that the finished product wasn't very good, and that when we got to the shoulders of the road, you guys had to go through and put a lot more material down to get the proper, you know, on and off egress and regress from the road into people's yards. And when we get into this, I mean, there's a tonnage difference in the different quotes, but there's also a quality department problem and a finished product of what's going on the sides, which turns out to be more work for you and the crew on our half to get things tuned in. So, I mean, what would be your best suggestion of who's gonna do the proper job with the proper amount of material and get our best result on the road? Because we don't need to have a shoddy finish coat as well as a not great undercoat.
And it's a big difference. You're talking, difference between 81,000 and 69,000 or 68,000. It's got a lot of money difference.
But there's also a big difference in the tonnage, where you're talking 3-4 truckloads, 10-wheeler loads of material difference.
It's like 95 tons different. I don't know what that covers, you know. That's why we really wanted to come in and.
I don't know why Springfield tonnage is under everybody's either.
These are the tons, and these are the.
Well, Depot Road was 150 tons all by itself, and the difference between the high and low is 95 tons quoted. So it's almost enough to do Depot Road.
But I mean, I would rather pay a little extra and have some more stuff put on there and have it be done to tip-top shape and not deal with it in another few years, I mean, if we got extra years out of paying a little more money, it would be better for the town than the cheap out.
I've had all three for years.
Yeah.
That's why we're asking.
And, I've never really had a huge issue. The cold joints last year, Joe knows, trucks get cold, it doesn't roll out good and stuff like that.
But that's not on us.
I know it's not new, but,
That's on the people doing the work.
So what's your pleasure?
Well, I was waiting to see what Kirk's budget.
like 2 years ago, I mean, Basin did a job and their roller ran out of water and it pulled up the blacktop on the road, you know, and I'm sure they didn't do it on purpose. Stuff does happen, and
Yeah, but back to, we don't care about stuff happening. We want the best job done on the road for the best amount of money. We don't wanna hear sob stories about waters running out and
I know.
cold material
The
and
time before that
flaggers didn't
the
show
time before
up.
that lane paved Grafton Road years ago, and the hose broke, and you know it pulled up on it. It's
Stuff happens.
stuff happens.
So.
But all three of them do. I think all three of them do a pretty good job. The
So
majority.
you recommend Springfield?
Because the tonnage works out with the slips, I know, because, you know, what they put down, the tonnage, you pay for what they put down. And he told me, he thought we were under on our specs that we put down on the bid sheet for shim on East Hill. And,
So that's what that's about.
yeah. And I took everybody up there and showed them, East Hill is out of shape.
But you didn't do a shim on Depot, so, I mean.
I didn't do a shim on Depot, that's just an overlay, because it's not broke up, it's broke up, but it's not
Right.
misshaped like East Hill. Maybe the other guys took that into effect and didn't write it down on the bid process here.
You know, Springfield's often been the lowest on price per, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, but when we see what happened last year, you can understand why it was messed up, or why it's lower.
But that
Well,
wasn't,
they all
that,
measure the same
You know,
distances
well,
at the
I just
same
got
time.
done
But
saying a
they,
few
but you
different
know, like
things.
when the hill road, that steep hill, they did a good job on that road, I have no complaints about that, it's just,
The other thing, basins,
yes.
it's happening on this week. On the RFP, it's driveways and aprons to be paved. Paving will not be allowed holiday, weekend, yada, yada, on down. And all roads are to be swept first, but Basin says that not included are pertinent sweeping.
I didn't read it.
No, that's what Basin says, they're not gonna do the sweeping.
Well, that's gotta be swept before anybody pays.
So let me just check these others, but I just happened to notice that as I'm
That's
reading.
part
down.
of our RFP is sweeping.
And
the
it says
road.
end joints will be milled, and Basin says they're not gonna be doing milling, so we better look at it.
They bring their own flaggers, right?
Yeah, there was like traffic controls on it.
no, but Basin says right here, includes sweeping part and installation of asphalt.
Not included.
Well, if they don't meet the criteria, they're out.
Well, that doesn't
Well,
make any sense,
One
though.
of it says include sweeping, and the other one says not included sweeping. No, not
does.
included sweeping.
Gotta be swapped.
For the same price?
That's what it
See?
says.
Right here, it says includes sweeping of asphalt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And down here, it says not included permit, shoulder gravel sweeping, milling of existing pavement.
And Lane says all of that is included. So that would, to me, would exclude that one. I don't know about Springfield.
Let's get the right one, the right one.
I that's the mistake by Lane, because is TAC included already?
No, that's
No, that was
Basin.
Basin.
Or Basin rather,
Yeah.
is the emulsifier included on Basin's?
A multiplier?
Multiplier,
Multiplier.
fire.
I think it is, yeah.
And I can't believe they put down that stuff without.
What it says.
Okay, yeah.
That's it. Not included.
Because RS one
But further
emulsion
up it
tax
says it
provided
isn't.
rate
It says-
of 0.02 gallons per square yard.
Well, anyhow, so I guess I'm getting, you're not saying it, you're not telling me who you would prefer.
Do we need to turn the camera off to get a correct answer?
For me, with these three guys, it just boils down to the price. They usually all do a good job. They usually do.
I'm glad I don't have to go play in the dirt.
That's what I'm playing that time.
It's a lot of dirt.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, then I would make a motion that we, award the contract to EME Management, DBA Springfield Paving, as outlined in their proposal.
I have a question. They are a little shy on their total price. Can we go higher on the shimming of East Hill?
Not to exceed $80,000.
Not to exceed
I mean, it very clearly states that, I think.
Because East Hill is usually open on the road, it's on this shape.
Yep.
But as we had that conversation last year,
80's what's in the budget, and there's really not a lot of,
there's
Yeah,
no
hopefully
way.
we'll-
there's not.
I
a lot
told
of-
all those guys to begin with, that's what we have, and
Yeah.
I would see that.
It'd be nice too if they would take and make the people's driveways so that us as select board members don't get complaints every time we go to the store. I mean, we can show our face in town after it gets done, preferably.
So there's a motion on the table to award the contract for paving to EME Management, DBA Springfield Paving, in an amount, I guess
Yeah,
not to
60.
exceed $80,000.
Yeah, $60.48 a ton,
At
not
68.42,
to exceed.
right. Is there a second?
We should amend it to 79.5. Because basically it's 79.7.
Excuse me?
Let's nitpick.
I think you'll be a pain.
I like paying.
No, you need a second for the second, but you're. in
Okay,
discussion
now
now.
there's a second. Now we can discuss amending it if we need to.
Who
I like
seconded?
paying, there was a discussion.
Who seconded?
I did.
You did.
Kyle did. Is there any further discussion?
Motion stands.
Then all those in favor of signing the contract with Springfield Paving EME Management Inc., signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Opposed? Abstentions?
All right.
Then I'll vote in the affirmative. Motion passes. All right, we have all our pieces back, do we?
Will you contact? Or you want me to call tomorrow?
You want to call
Sure, I'll
contact Basin
contact
and Lane?
All three of them, you're gonna send it, I'll call all three and they'll send that back to you.
Yeah. You want me to sign it?
Sure.
What is it, 12? Been that way all day, I think I know what I know. Which one do they want me to sign, or doesn't it matter? Signature check, whose two signatures do they want on the bottom of this? He's already signed it. We'll deal with this later.
Did you guys get a contract from Daisy for crushing?
No.
No,
You did, because I did call them, and told them something.
all right, so, moving on with the highway. I'm not sure what order you wanna take things in, do you wanna let Kurt give us a report?
Sure.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and.
If he's prepared wants to. What'd you do to your arm?
Huh?
What's going on with your wing?
Oh, my arm. I hurt my elbow the other day.
On the job or not?
I happened to be on the job. And every once in a while I get this freaking pain in my elbow. Like something's popped out. And in a minute or so it'll snap back in. And every once in a while it's just stuck out. Anyways, huh?
You have it looked at?
I'm gonna have a look at it. I just haven't had time. As far as a report, I really don't have much of a report. We had a lot of rain. We've been tuning up ditches and stuff after the rain. It's just been nonstop with that stuff. These big washes really not kick our butt as far as material wise, but puts everything out of joint because the roads are so dry. Ed Smith's mother passed away last night, so he'll be off for 3 to 4 days. He has to go down to take care of that down in Florida with his father. See what he's going to do about that situation. So he probably won't be here until next Monday or Tuesday.
So that makes you short.
Yeah. Christine Angel has a problem with a ditch across her yard. There's a culvert that comes underneath the road right by Jeffers that's fed by the state culvert. And we cleaned it out and put a little swale in her yard. And then she hired somebody to make a big swale in her yard and put some check dams in there with stone. I don't know why they did that. And it's made a mess of her yard. And she said originally there was a ditch across my yard, a swale across the yard. Of course, I don't remember it because I never was in a yard, and that's way before my time. And so she's pretty concerned about that.
Well, she's going to, had that
Had the work done?
work done, right?
Right, we went in her yard, we cleaned out the culvert because you can't reach
Right.
it by any other way. And we put a short little swale in her yard, and we left it grass because grass is going to hold the dirt.
Right,
And somebody else excavated more of a ditch, and
yeah.
so
So it would seem that the person that she hired to do that would be the,
that's what I think also.
okay.
But then, of course, you know, why pay tax in this town? But that's not my fault.
I took a look at it and I don't know, I think she needs to deal with it herself.
That's what you're feeling too, right?
That's not feeling so. I gave her a short piece of culvert. We had a little stub piece to go through the stone wall at the end because
Yeah.
she's concerned about the water, and her neighbor was going to take care of that. Try to do what I can, but it's out of our right of way. It's been there a lot of years. You used to mow that little field, didn't you?
I mowed it, yeah. Did last year too.
I mean, the culvert's wide open. There's no failure with the culvert. It's just putting a bunch of water in your yard. It always has.
And that's a state culvert?
It's our culvert, fed by the state culvert. I called the state on it, and they said, really nothing we can do, and they said, probably there's nothing you can do either, so.
Yeah.
Because there is a law in the book of statutes about runoffs and stuff, and law established runoffs and everything. But I will talk to her tomorrow and tell her.
Okay.
We can't, been doing a lot of ditching, trying to get ready for this.
You were cutting brush or something, is it?
I was cutting brush behind the guardrails, right?
Where is it? All over there?
Behind the guardrails. Yeah, we don't have a lot of guardrails, so. And I'm waiting for a CVPS to move the pole and guy wire before we even, because we got the grant for Plum Hill for that place land. But they're supposed to move a pole and a guy wire before we start the project, so.
Agreed.
Any agreement on that?
Yep, but we haven't done the warrants yet, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, this bill from Patriot. You have to correct me, Craig, if I'm wrong and don't understand it, but, it seems that on June 5th, Ed worked an hour on a truck to find a broken wire. And then he spent an hour calling Patriots about it. And then he took the truck over to Patriots for 3.5 hours on Tuesday. On Wednesday, apparently he went back to Patriots for 2 hours.
They screwed up the parks, yeah.
And then on Thursday, he's back to Patriots for 4.5 hours. Okay? And this was for a connector. Apparently the wire was chafed, and they put in a new male and female connector, and they tied the wiring out of the way to prevent future chafing.
It's,
Total labor is $192. Parts is $9.26. And I'm just befuddled why you can't do that in-house.
because it's a big connector, big plastic connector with these pins in there, and he found the chafed wire, fixed the chafed wire. It did not solve the problem of the truck. So then we went over there. They diagnosed it. We'll order the parts. There was 2 days there. First day was diagnostic. They're not supposed to be charging us for that front light problem, but that plug was not part of the front light problem from the fire. We don't have the tools. We don't have the diagnostic to check these things out. There's a whole problem.
But not to
It's not just a connector. It's not, if it was just a connector, we could do that. It's a big plug with all these little pins in it.
Let me ask you this next one, and then I got a couple of things that I wanted to say. The next one is the Delury one,
Yes.
and I didn't follow through how many hours with Delury, but they said the stop engine light came on and the truck died. About 5 minutes later, it started and had codes. So Delury checked that out. Check codes inactive, test drove, let truck run, but could not duplicate the problem. $160 for labor, and whatever it cost us to have you take it to Delury.
They had the truck over there for 3 days. The first couple times they checked.
But still, what I'm saying is it costs us to bring it over and go get it and come back and forth.
I know it does, but what are we supposed to do?
Just hold on a minute, if you will, all right? The other problem was they was using antifreeze, and they pressurized the system seemed okay. You told them they might have had air in it, and then what they found was the radiator cap wasn't holding pressure, so they replaced the radiator cap. It took them an hour and a half to do that at $100 an hour. It was $150 labor to replace that radiator cap. Again, it's $310 in labor, $20.80 in parts, and that's not counting the time to go over, 2 of you guys and 1 of you to drive you back, so it's 2 men to Delury's back and forth twice. If I remember, and correct me, because it was, you've worked for us for years, and I was on the board when we hired you, and when we even interviewed you, part of the best thing that we had going was you were a mechanic and you could take care of these things. Am I right or wrong? I mean, I just need to know that.
You are correct, and that there's stuff I don't understand. They replaced EGR cooler on the truck shortly before this, and we never had trouble with the truck losing antifreeze. So now we have trouble with the truck losing antifreeze. It's going into code. It's going into detune mode. We'll use 2/3 of your power. You can't use the truck. So we disconnect the batteries. We reset everything. It's in a little book in the truck, and it comes back on.
So
We do not have the computers to plug into three different systems now, because we got an older truck, international, a newer truck, international, and a Freightliner. We do not have that. The dealerships keep changing stuff. They have to keep updating their own stuff. So the antifreeze problem, I thought, was from the EGR cooler. The radiator cap, I can't understand. I don't see the radiator cap being a problem. But anyways, because it's not running, the Edstrom tank's not getting overfull or anything like that. The expansion tank rather. And the Freightliner is just an electrical nightmare.
Okay.
That whole front of that truck, as we've been dealing with since we bought the truck, has been terrible.
Which brings me to my next, what I'm kind of saying is, over the years, I'm kind of a dummy, but over the years, the technology, if you will, in vehicles has got so that you can't do that in-house. Is that a correct
We do
assumption?
Brakes, chassis work and stuff like that.
All right, then my next question is, should we hire somebody that can? Should we find a mechanic or somebody closer to home that can take care of that kind of stuff? Because this to me is exorbitant. Not only in their labor charges, but in our hourly charges. I mean,
Yeah, I agree with you. If there's somebody local who can plug into these trucks, who has the equipment, it would be great for us too, then we don't have to waste this
then
time.
you've got to take 2 men in 4 days to
Right.
shuffle stuff around. All right?
Mhm.
Do you know of anybody that does that kind of work?
I could call Hal, see who he uses, because Hal's in a, you know Hal, he's in the
Yeah.
same predicament we are, chassis work,
Yeah.
turbo work, stuff like that, and as far as computers go back to the dealer. I know all the wind haul trucks go back to the dealer now and stuff like that. It's the electrical stuff that is killing us.
Well, one question that I have about Patriot is you go over there to get a part and you come back with the wrong part. We've crossed this bridge time in and time out with Patriot. Time in and time out. You guys go over there, you come back, you go back over, you come back, you go back over. When is enough enough? You're the man in charge.
Where's our
No, you're the man in
I'm in
charge.
charge.
We go.
Where's our local Freightliner dealer? Where else can we utilize?
I don't care if you
We
go
call-
to California, if you get the right part the first time,
I
every
do, I don't want
time.
you going to California.
Well, no, but it just gets to a
We
certain
call
point
them
where
up.
it's like, it's a light bulb kit, they could send it. We have this thing, we've had it for over, since
They have our
1790
VIN
something,
number. They have
Ben
the
Franklin
build
was
sheet
the
on the
first
truck.
postmaster.
What am I gonna do? I send them over, get the part, bring it back, open, take the truck apart. Now the truck's apart, open, look at the part, it's wrong. We hate to tear a truck off the road. If,
Doing it nice, cause we do it twice, isn't really the motto to have.
I agree with you.
Go over there, get the proper part, if they don't wanna give you the proper part, find somebody else.
I wish I had another Freightliner dealer closer. I really do. Patriot has a lot of dealerships in New England that are all Freightliner and stuff. The nearest one up from us would be up in Burlington, Charlie Boys.
Well, Charlie Boys will give you the right light bulb, or the right harness chafing problem, or whatever you have going on.
I mean, it
I
just.
mean, it's a minor
it sticks in
situation.
my craw, something awful. To wind up,
You think
not only their labor of $100 an hour, but if you figure 2 guys traveling back and forth, there's another $100 an hour or whatever. The wages, I mean, it just, for a $2 part, and I don't know what the resolution is other than, and maybe we need to hire a mechanic that's on call or something that can come in and do that. I don't know. But boy, it's killing your budget.
And I mean,
It's
whatever
your
happened
budget.
to taking the part that you took off and bring it over with you and size the 2 up? I mean,
Sometimes you gotta take the truck.
well, no, but I mean, I have some equipment too, Kurt. I mean, I could look at something and say, well, that's broke, I'll take it off, I'll bring it with me. And if I get a box that's this big for a part this big, I open it up and look at it and say,
You
well,
think we have no common sense or anything? The
No,
whole thing
I-
pisses me off too, and I really don't like it. Maybe I'll start using the Catamount truck over in Bellas Falls. He's the old shop foreman that worked for LMB for years. He's a great guy. Or maybe I'll start using Twin State, but You would think-
They may be the same, I don't
you would
know.
think Patriot, having our VIN number, build sheet and everything, would know the part and have the part and everything right there.
I'm
As
just
far as their
saying-
service, it
I'm
sucks.
just saying, surmise, things change, and keeping up with mechanics and having the right tools, I hear that and I understand that. I just think that it's an issue that we need to address somehow. If we went down through this in the last year, what that cost us in hourly time for Ed to run back and forth to Patriot and Delury,
It's all
and 2 men back and forth to Delury, it's a third of our time just racing around with vehicles, and it's a pretty bitter pill to swallow. And it's your budget, so it's, that's
It's
all.
not like it was in the old days.
No, it isn't, it ain't.
You can't hook a light up because you gotta go through the body.
I-
the old,
I understand
power
that.
module and all this stuff. It's
I
not like it
understand
was.
that, but there must be some way, somehow, to not have to expend all this money. That just,
Yeah.
So is that?
So I expect you to have a resolution to that tomorrow.
Good luck finding
Tomorrow?
mechanics, huh?
I was waiting, thought maybe by 7:30.
Okay, I wanna change and go in a different mode if you guys are done with beating the equipment
Well, I
to
didn't mean to beat him. I mean,
No, I said the
was-
equipment to
oh,
death.
yeah.
That's a different thing now.
I just have a request, since I received today copies of the injury reports that were filed with VLTC for both you and for Ed. When you have one of these, when you file these forms with VLTC, will you print out a copy so that it can be put in the personnel file?
Sure, I have it on my computer.
So that when we get into discussions either with the insurance company or with a claim, that we have all the information here in the
Yep.
house. Because, finding out this way doesn't necessarily,
Well, I thought,
Give us all the
call up the
people.
woman about it, and she goes, you guys understand, you gotta call up for everything. You get a cut, you call up.
yeah.
I said, you get a cut, you call up. She goes, yeah. You get a cut, get an infection, you turn gangrene, lose a finger, oh, we have no on record or anything like that. I said, that's, you know how many times we bump each other, or bump ourselves, or cut somebody, or. Yeah.
72 hours.
Yeah, and
It's ridiculous.
they're very strict about that 72-hour policy, but we just noticed that we don't have the substantial
Sure, I gotta
paperwork
make
that
that
goes.
up.
If you could make sure that gets here to be put into everybody's file, to go along with what we got from VLTC today, I appreciate that. And the other question I have, is I was looking through the timesheets that you guys turned in, and there seems to be some confusion, and not consistent confusion, but confusion, about lunch. And specifically on, we've had a couple of times on your timesheets where you will put in for the half hour for lunch because you don't take it, but you don't do it consistently.
I don't take lunch every day now. Sometimes I'll work right through.
Okay, and I understand that.
Oh, you mean write it down 8.5? Yeah, sometimes I forget all about that and put down 8.
Okay, so I just wanted to clear it up for you.
I usually put no
Yeah,
in the
you
middle,
do.
and then I forget to put the half.
Okay, so we just wanted to make sure that on this particular pay grouping, you did that twice in that 2-week period, that's part of the 8-hour day is the lunch piece. So if you don't take it, then, but it wasn't consistent, we couldn't quite figure out why you weren't doing the same thing every time.
Not take lunch or take lunch and not put down half.
Okay, well, like,
it's
just
not gonna get paid for.
don't put the half
Oh,
hour.
which is fine.
Whether you take it or you don't take it.
Well, if it looks like I got like 8.5 hours on the grader or something like that, it explains why I got 8.5 hours on the grader.
Yeah, exactly, but I'm just saying that there's just some confusion, I just want to clarify the fact that the 8 hours does include a half an hour for lunch.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, also review everybody's time sheet. You just started doing that and sign it, and that's a matter of record, so that.
Well, our time clock, if you look at the time clock, we put in 8.5 hours, we're there 8.5 hours plus all the time, but
Yeah.
the time is all screwed up. The days are all screwed up.
You mean where it's at?
Power went off, I gotta get up and change the
Ah,
clock,
okay.
and the month
Yeah.
doesn't roll over.
So if we start like 3:50 in the morning, we're not starting at 3:50 in the morning. We're starting
No, you're not.
at 5:50 in the morning.
But they are leaving at noon or something, 8 hours later, right, yeah.
Well, as long as you stay that same window, you're good, just don't let him change the clock while you're at. Because that could be a problem if he rolls it back.
Well, that's fine, because now there's a gate there, it's not, and I drive by and I think, geez, I need to stop and do that, and then I forget all about it.
Too lazy to open the gate.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else on the highway that?
That's what I have, no.
Okay, so if you will take care of calling those gentlemen
Yeah.
about the paving, and we'll get the
I'll ask
contract.
Days about getting a contract for crushing too.
For the gravel, yeah.
Do we know when that's
That's
proposed?
June, July 17th.
We didn't do that, huh?
Yeah, you awarded the contract, but there wasn't a contract that
Right.
was signed,
No sign.
an actual physical.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the minutes.
I'm sure they sent in their certificate. of
Okay,
insurance,
yep,
stuff like
yep,
that.
I'm there.
Okay, so yeah, if you could get that contract too, so I'd appreciate that.
And this one will get appropriately signed and in the mail to E&E, Springfield, this contract.
Okay, well,
Thanks, Eric.
thank you.
Yep, that's it.
Good luck with the rake.
An elbow.
All right. Anyway, moving on to the warrants. I don't even know who has the warrants.
I was gonna ask, but not that far in five, so.
Oh, well, too late.
I'm missing someone.
You shouldn't be
You
missing.
don't have 2 and 3.
2 should be a payroll.
No, 2 is deductions, number 1 is payroll.
Right.
Yeah, you go from 2
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
5 to 2 and 4.
Did it happen to get put together?
No, number 3 is general fund for $140. I don't know what it is.
I don't have them.
Maybe I do. This one's
There should be 9 altogether. What I recollect.
No?
It's a small one for the general fund. I can't remember what it is, $140. Four.
1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this is 2017.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but it should have gotten,
Get rid of that.
And there's 8 and 9.
9. Nothing right there, huh? Yeah. Nothing under there. Okay, so it's on that table. Gotta be something with a paper clip on that table. In your folders, maybe? or-
No.
I just looked mine.
I haven't even had mine out.
May not have paper.
Not over there.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Let's see if it's in the,
That's
this
all,
one you're done with, huh?
that's all this stuff.
Did you write down number 3?
I did.
Okay, so you've seen it, it is down. Let me just see if it's in the bid folder here.
Unless it's stuck in
Yeah,
somebody.
it's not.
It's gotta be clipped to the wrong one.
Tucked in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It won't be number 1, I'm pretty guaranteed.
Yeah, 'cause that's a bugger to get off.
Oh,
Well, that's a good
true.
one, yeah. That's fine, huh? There it is.
There it is.
Ended up underneath 4.
Still need 2.
The 2's a single sheet,
Well, good. It's easy to find.
'cause it's payroll
Actually,
introduction, I actually.
It's
two
actually a couple
sheets.
sheets, but I think they're just stapled, no paper clip. Because there's Beamers on one side and
Yeah.
there's state and,
I said I don't have it.
find that.
Imagine this one's 2. They never finish any of them.
Well, but no, those 2 go together.
Just go to 3, it's not 2.
Yeah. Here it is. It's right here. They're stapled backwards. There's 2, there's 3, and they actually didn't even get input in that way, did they? No, we're still missing taxes. That's the general fund warrant. Yeah, okay, for the total amount. You're still missing the, 2. I said, it is payroll withholding. That's 2 sheets of paper, stapled together.
Under 3?
No, it's mislabeled.
No, it's right here. Little taxes.
Yep, that's it. Okay, now we've got them all.
Then there's nothing attached to 4.
This is before Broward salvage.
There you go.
Okay, so here's 2, here's 3, and you had 1, you had payroll.
Yeah, I have 1. I have all the other ones.
Okay, so there's 2 and 3.
There you go.
And be careful when you do these, because The total is right here.
Okay.
We only have to go to Craig. There it goes. Okay. We found it, they were all
It was on the table somewhere.
lumped together in one packet.
Step. Alright, make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071201 in the amount of $8,911.97.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant 071201 in the amount of $8,911.97 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071202 payroll taxes in the amount of $3,558.45.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll tax warrant 071202 in the amount of $3,558.45 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? You gonna vote?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071203 in the amount of $140.37.
No, look at the second page, they have to be added
Alright.
together.
It's Adam,
Adam,
or you put me on the spot.
I'm sorry. It's $269.93.
The amount of $269.93.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Which one is that?
That one is Northeast Dental.
Oh,
Need signatures.
Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrants 071203 in the amount of $269.93 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071204 out of the general fund in the amount of $3,188.44.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? I don't think so. Well, we did, we can't have the same number twice. So we're looking on this number as a total, as a combined total. It was the 140 plus that, because we've already got that number. You see what I'm saying?
Good catch, because I didn't get it. I had 140 written down for that number.
no,
But I was just looking at the top page.
you don't have.
Yes, we do. We just read off the total
Right, for
amount
two.
as 269.93. But we've already had this number. This is payroll withholding. We already have that number assigned.
All right, but you have to delete that, but you haven't approved that.
We have,
Okay.
because we combined it with that total.
Right, it should be all on one sheet, not two sheets.
Now, what am I doing? Where am I here?
You're on number,
Okay.
coming up 5,
Can I go home?
318844.
Discussion on that warrant. The only thing I would like to point out on that particular warrant, it's for the general fund, is that we had a substantial amount of expense to close out a year. I don't remember what the actual total billables for Nimric were, but it was a fair amount of money that we spent to close out the year.
About 1,500.
About 1,500. Is there anything else, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrants 071204 in the amount of $3,188.44 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071205 out of the town general fund. Amount to $35.91.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 071205 in the amount of $35.91 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071206 out of the general fund in the amount of $9,444.78.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant 071206 in the amount of $9,444.78, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Chair votes in the affirmative, the motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071207 out of the highway fund in the amount of $115.19.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 071207 in the amount of $115.19, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071208 out of the highway fund in the amount of $65.15.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 071208 in the amount of $65.15, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
I make a motion to approve check warrant report number 071209 out of the equipment fund in the amount of $8,535.19.
Is there a second?
Second.
Or discussion?
Yes.
The one with the peach tire. Can I see that warrant, please?
No, that's,
That is,
this,
there's a thing on air gas. I thought we were using air gas in the hospital.
oh, that was, is there, actually, I missed
There's an
that.
$8 on air gas.
Oh, that's
that
the
shifted
leftover
over to
for
this
the-
year.
yeah.
It's leftover.
That's for the tank,
Yep, and we had done that. I just had a question, and I meant to ask Clerk when he was here, but in Peach Tire, there are different breakouts for tubes you bought and mounts and dismounts, but there's one for farm. I don't know what a farm tire is for the highway.
I think, is it two tubes, two farm tubes or something? Because they break it down between agriculture, highway, and off-road, I think, don't they, Joe?
No,
I don't know.
it's something's mount and dismount, two farm tires, $75 each for $150.
Because the tires on the rear of the backhoe are huge, as opposed to the ones up front. So I don't know if they're thinking of those as tractor tires.
No, because there's others, I'm not sure how they do that.
I don't know the designation.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask him about that, that's all.
it's those,
Could be one of the trailers.
Be what?
No, those are all back, that's all backhoe belt, I'm sure. All four for the backhoe, 4 new tires, I think.
is there any further discussion on that warrant? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant 071209 in the amount of $8,535.19, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention. Rob, what are you?
Rolling with abstaining, so we know what the, exactly what.
We got, okay, then, let's back this trolley up. Are we going to fail the whole warrant over that one piece?
No, we don't have
Well,
to.
that's the way it's written. I mean, you can rewrite the warrant, and, make a motion to
amend the
amend the rate and find until such time as that's clarified, that's all.
That would allow them to pay the rest of the bills if we were to
That's
do
what I'm
that.
saying. You could do
So
that.
what was the total, can you tell us what the total was on Pete's Tire?
It's
Kyle?
on 2, she broke it down on 2, because it's a labor charge or something. It's right in the front there, right down toward the bottom.
Yeah,
It's also
got it.
Maybe you could call Peach tomorrow, Craig, and find out what that farm needs.
$2,681.26. $680.26.
From Pete's Tire, right? So that's subtraction.
216.26 equals. So it should become 58.53.93 as opposed to 85.35. 58.53.93 is what I'm coming up.
Okay, so at this point in time, we had 2 abstentions, we had 1 yes. So the motion is basically going to fail, then we can bring it back up as an amended motion.
Right. No, you can amend the,
Amend
you can
the,
amend the pay order.
right.
So I can amend it.
You didn't vote, so basically you didn't have a quorum, so the motion.
No, the three's quorum. Two abstentions and 1 yes is a quorum. How I vote doesn't matter.
No, because if you only
Yeah.
have 3 people and 2 vote in the affirmative and 1 votes negative, you don't have a
It
quorum.
ain't gonna
in the
matter
affirmative.
anyhow, so you.
No, I'm just
you
saying, the motion isn't over with because you were basically deadlocked. You didn't have a quorum vote because you didn't vote. You had 2 abstentions and 1 affirmative.
Right.
Therefore, the motion is still on the table until you can break that deadlock or you move on to something else. So, I think it's,
No, because the two
then it
abstentions,
fails for lack of a quorum,
it would fail
vote.
for lack of a quorum.
for lack of a quorum vote.
For lack of a positive vote, right?
Or a negative vote either way,
Right.
but it fails for lack of a quorum either way.
Now, I would make a motion that we amend pay order number
071.
071209 to pay $5,853.93, withholding $2,681.26 for Pete's Tire.
For clarification. And Kyle seconded it.
Yeah.
So is there any discussion?
Put a note on that.
Okay.
Hearing none, all those in favor of approving amended warrant 071209 for the equipment fund in the amount of $5,853.93, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Did you vote, Kyle? I didn't hear.
Yes.
I'm sorry, okay. Motion passes then. All right. Then moving on, members of the public, there are none. Correspondence, we'll deal with one of the pieces that was in your box down under reimbursement. I don't wanna, or under gazebo reimbursement. I don't wanna deal, you should have a copy.
Oh,
of that.
yeah, from the
Yep.
insurance company?
From Craig,
Craig to the insurance company?
yes.
Correct.
Okay, so then was there any other correspondence? Then moving down
Have
to,
you not heard anything back from them or anything from this?
well, it's on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's coming up.
Okay. Yep.
Officer appointments, we do need to try to find someone to fill the, social services screening committee
I did.
seats.
Yeah, I did call, left a message with Miss Grieve, who requested that she would like to serve on that committee, but I haven't talked to her in a long time. So I did give her a call and let her know that she was appointed by this board, but that she would want to maybe suggest a couple of people to work with. And
I also think it might not be such a bad idea to post it on the unofficial website that we are looking for 1 or 2 more people to serve on that committee.
on social services.
On social
Yes.
services,
Right.
just so that people are aware.
If you can, if we do that on the website, if you give a really brief overview of what it entails, it may be helpful.
Okay, well, that's easy enough to do.
Yeah. It is.
So that, I'll make sure that they're aware that that needs to go up. And that was social services. Screening, okay. Notices,
No, other appointments, vacancies would be town report. Committee.
that's not under officer appointments.
Oh, I guess it isn't under
No,
officer.
that's under new business.
That's under new, I'm sorry, yeah, okay, I'm looking at appointments, yeah, okay.
Okay, so, notices update,
Coming along, not yet.
Okay, we do have to get that accomplished.
Yes, we do need that done by August.
Uh,
Before.
now the gazebo reimbursement. You all had a copy in your box of the
Yep.
letter that Craig sent in response to, the insurance company's request for additional information. This is something we talked about in executive session the last time, and he sent the letter based
It's a
on.
request
based
for
on our
reimbursement,
discussion.
yeah.
Yep. So we're
And,
just,
I
keep
have not
solid-
received, I have not received a response, as of today, the 12th.
so we need to be,
When did you send it? Not to cut you off.
Last week, and whenever the date on there is.
July 6th.
6th, yeah.
So they presumably got it the 8th, 9th?
Oh, it's also, yeah, it's hard copy in mail, they would have had the hard copy.
Maybe today.
At least by yesterday, yeah, I mean, they would have it, I mean, they have this week, and they have my contact information, they can call me up. If,
but we need to be aware at the next meeting that we may need to move
Mm-hmm.
forward with what we discussed on that particular piece. Windham County Humane Society contract, which is the one we talked about last time. This particular contract is to house animals that the animal control officer finds or has brought to his attention as strays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Windham County Humane Society allows them access to the kennels, to the facility at all hours of the day and night to put these animals in a safe place until their owners can be found. The charge for the town, I lost
I
it.
believe it's 300.
Is it
It went up, I thought it was
300?
250 to 3.
Oh, where is it?
Is it on the cover letter?
Doesn't seem to be. Just that it was raising the flat fee.
Yeah, I believe it's up $50, so I think it's,
I think it's
or
300.
20, 25 or 50, but I think it's 300 now. It was either 250 or 275. I can find it on there if you need me to.
It's 300 to serve as an
Yeah.
impoundment facility to satisfy the statutory requirements. So it's $300 with Windham County Humane Society to sign the contract for them to take these animals. So I would entertain a motion to sign this contract and send it back to Windham County Humane.
So move.
Is there any discussion?
Oh, we need a second. So I'll pick one for a second.
Oh, well, yeah.
Move, count a second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of signing the contract with Windham County Humane Society to act as an impoundment area for stray dogs and cats, signify by saying aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I give it on the eye.
Okay. The motion passes. I didn't hear that as,
80% unanimous and and a groan.
I don't know how you do that, but just go
It's on
ahead.
camera.
Okay,
Rich will edit it.
okay. Then, where are we
That
here?
makes sense.
The town report committee, we need to make known that we need to begin the process of finding people willing to put the town report together. Without auditors, this is something that we basically, is now on our table to find the people necessary to put the booklet together for the voters. So if any of you are willing to donate time to do that and or know of anybody who might be interested.
Nominate Ken Hoffman.
I'll second that not just I think we should appoint Ken Hoffman.
I don't think we can appoint him, I think
We
it's
just
volunteer. Okay. You can tell him.
Ken, you head it up.
We need your assistance.
Yep, we need you.
Yeah, this is a volunteer position.
Well,
We'll still nominate.
Okay,
still
no, I'm
appoint.
no, because there are one or two people that might be able to do it. But I'm just, this is, right now, you're requesting a committee that will volunteer to,
And it's shortly going to be time to start thinking about the type of a layout they want, because we will be getting the end of the year numbers before too much longer. And as the audit comes in phase-wise.
Joe will help him.
And in discussion for the last number of months, me and others, and I know Kathy's had the discussion as well, to be looking at a more user-friendly, simplified report as opposed to a more complicated, obfuscated one. This last one was particularly difficult to make any use of, and I think we can take some of the budget spreadsheets and simplify them
Make it less
for the
complex.
purposes of for
Yeah.
the purposes of public understanding. All the information will be available on a printout or a handout or in the back office or wherever anyone wants to see. But I don't think it needs to all be published. We need some salient figures in a condensed form that helps everybody understand exactly what's happening. But the minutiae of detail in here, much of which is wrong from last year, it should be a more simplified report and a more fun and attractive. But anyway, a committee needs to begin to think about that by September 1st.
So if someone would, just kind of get the word out that we are looking for somebody to do this. Because the holiday season is we got jingle bells?
We, as I say, we have bells ringing in the air, ringing in the air.
Somebody
Okay.
just went into the bathroom. Is a little dog like this purpose?
Okay, I thought maybe Santa Claus was coming. I'm sorry. Anyway, the other thing we added to new business was a discussion or a vote on setting a tax rate for 2017. So,
Do you wanna make a motion before you do discussions, or what do you want?
I would prefer the motion before we do discussions.
I make a motion that we set the 2016, 2017 tax rate. Let me make sure I get this one right.
Well, first we need,
No, I know. First you need what?
you need the grand list, the total.
The total grand list. Oh, you gotta accept the total grand list of $1,798,670.
Okay.
Which is opposed to last year's $1,782,393 for an increase of $16,277. So the grand list is $1,798,670.
So you're moving a tax rate based on a grand list of
Yes.
1,798, okay.
All right?
And the tax rates
I
are,
am gonna get the right one. It's right. The total municipal and homestead rate of $2.0064. And total municipal and non-resident rate of $1.8464.
is there a second to that? Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Okay, go for it, guys. I need to keep this.
I'll just say for clarification that the municipal rate, which includes the highway and all municipal spending, is, let's see, we gotta find it here. For both homestead and non-resident, the municipal rate is 41.4105 cents. Of that, $2 homestead and the $1.84 non-resident. The entire municipal and highway expenditures are 0.4105 cents. The education rates are different depending on homestead or non-resident, but they're in the 150 range. Well, 160 for homestead and 143 for non-resident.
And that is a substantial decrease from last year's.
From last year's, yeah.
Is there any further discussion?
There is a decrease in the education rate, but there's a substantial decrease and combined because of an increase in the grand list and various factors. It's on the homestead side, it's a drop of about 15 cents, maybe a little more, roughly 15 cents, and on the non-resident side, it's a drop of just about 12 cents.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, oh, I just put the papers away.
All right.
All those in favor of approving a tax rate, no, this is not the right one. Let me get the right papers.
In the discussion, I would like to thank Craig and Kathy
Yeah.
for all of their efforts and work in getting this together. He's been a good little boy, a
The,
lot of work.
okay, so all those in favor of approving a motion to set a tax, a total municipal and homestead tax rate at $2.0064 and a total municipal and non-residential rate at $1.8464 based on a grand list of $1,798,000 and $98,670. Periods are commas and commas are periods. What am I gonna say? All right. Is that the whole motion? Did I forget something? Don't start.
That's the whole motion.
It is the motion.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving those tax rates signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Anybody's gonna say no? Abstentions? The motion passes. So Joe, you have your tax rates, you can get now start burning up the copier.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Gotta
Joe.
enter on the state stuff first.
You need a what?
Gotta enter the stuff.
Oh,
The
yes,
state
yes,
first.
yeah, the, predates. Yeah,
Which I think have probably come close, didn't they start arriving, or have they arrived?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
all right,
got mine last
well,
Friday.
no, but-
for the first time in 4 years, the select board is almost 2 weeks early on this. So you guys should be good shape.
Well, no, you've done very good work, seriously.
You
Really
guys
appreciate it.
made it easy
This is
this
a
year.
good boy.
You made it easy this year.
So,
We got
Even-
it now. There's a lot of days.
He's a good little boy.
all right, are we done?
Throw
Thank
something
Thank
across
you
the
for
table.
helping him too.
Oh,
You're so
okay.
nice.
I see, is that what it was?
Yeah, it is helpful.
No, it's very helpful. Is there any other business? Hearing none, I will entertain, first of all, a motion for a short recess, and then a motion to move into executive session. Let's do the executive session first, and then the motion for the recess.
So moved.
No, 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 no,
Kyle
no.
makes a motion to recess for a few.
Yeah, Carl says all done. No, I will entertain a motion to move into executive session under 1 VSA section 313A3 to discuss the evaluation of the highway foreman,
Following a brief recess.
following a brief
Well,
recess
that's gonna happen anyway. Discuss personnel evaluation.
of the highway foreman.
Okay.
So Carl made that
You have a
motion?
second?
I
Yeah.
don't know, did somebody second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of moving into executive session, signify by saying aye.
Yeah.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. There will not be a resolution coming out.
Let's see.